pony remark came just from a, you know, you have a lot of antisocial thoughts during the day. I don't know if you do, but I have a lot of antisocial thoughts throughout the day. And I remember being at a dinner and somehow that idea about saying that thing about the pony to this old woman came into my head. I don't remember exactly how.
I hate anyone that ever had a pony when they were growing up.
I had a pony.
Well, I didn't really mean a pony per se.
When I was a little girl in Poland, we all had ponies. My sister had pony, my cousin had pony. So what's wrong with that?
No, see, we didn't have ponies. I'm sure at that time in Poland they were very common. They were probably like compact cars.
Funny thing to me about that episode was that I decided to put Elaine at a short table like a child.
Seriously, do you want to switch chairs?
No, I'm fine.
And I think that really added to the visual effect and made that dinner party a lot of fun.
If I wind up sitting next to Uncle Leo, I am leaving. He's always grabbing my arm when he talks to me. I guess it's because so many people have left in the middle of his conversation.
And it's always about Jeffrey, right?
Yeah, he talks about him like he split the atom. The kid works for the Parks Department.
Len Lesser was cast as Uncle Leo in the second season of the show.
I looked at the script. I walked in. I read the part, the pony remark, and I started laughing. I'm looking at the script and I was thinking, what are they laughing at? There's nothing funny in what I'm saying. And I repeated a couple of more lines, you know, and they laughed again. The entire time I'm thinking, what the hell are they laughing at? There's nothing funny here.
His take on the character, just sort of naturally who he was just so fantastic that it was so clear that he was the choice.
I finished and they thanked me, and I thought that was the end of it, you know, because sometimes people laugh a lot and they talk about this and you don't get the job. That's most of the time. But I got that one.
You want to hear something? Your cousin Jeffrey is switching parks. They're transferring him to Riverside, so we'll completely revamp that operation, you understand?
Yeah.
He'll do in Riverside now what he did in Central Park. More money. So, that's your cousin.
One of the turning points in the writing for me came with the busboy episode, when somehow the busboy character met Elaine's boyfriend in the building. The circumstances just led for those two. There was a path for those two to get together.
Yeah?
It's Eddie.
He's coming up.
Unconsciously, but that's what happened in the building, and they had a big fight.
Hey, watch where you're going. You almost knocked my head off.
Hey! Why don't you watch where you're going, okay? Because you bumped into me.
Who do you think you're talking to, pal?
Hey! Get your hands off me!
You go to hell!
And that left an impression on me, how those two stories really collided like freight trains. And I remember thinking that I really like how that happened. I hope that could happen again, or somehow, or maybe I could even make that happen again. And so that left a big impression on me.
I didn't realize at the time sort of what that meant as it was happening, but it is a marked difference from the episodes that preceded it.
I got the script and I couldn't help noticing that Jerry Seinfeld, the titular star of the show, barely appeared in the script. And he had so fallen in love with his three co-stars by this point that as a writer, he kept writing scenes for them.
That showed a generosity of spirit that I can't imagine any other situation. He basically gave his co-stars the show.
I wasn't conscious so much of Jerry writing himself out as I was Jerry writing us in.
And I went to Jerry after I got the early draft of the Busboy script, and I said, I guess I'll be your agent and say, the show's called Seinfeld. Look whose name's on the screen. Feel free to write yourself into your own show.
I don't think it ever bothered him if somebody else got the laugh and he didn't.
Put your pants on.
What's the big deal if we don't
Here,
make
put
it?
your
I'll
pants
just
on.
go tomorrow or the next day.
Oh, you have your ticket. You have to go now.
We'll never make it.
Don't say that.
Well, it takes 45 minutes to get... Takes 45 minutes to get there. That'll only leave me 5 minutes to get to the plane.
Shut up and pack.
And then what...
On the busboy episode, there was this scene in which I'm running around trying to get the boyfriend out of my apartment. That was an exhausting scene to do for all sorts of reasons. First of all, physically it was exhausting, but it was sort of emotionally exhausting. And now as I watched it again, I can see why, because I was, if I were going to grade that, I'd give myself about a B-, to tell you the truth. I would like to go back and reshoot that if we have a chance.
The busboy's coming. The busboy's coming. The busboy's coming.
The busboy's coming. Remember that? Kurt Michael saying that? We laughed about that for years. The busboy's coming.
Baby Shower was one of the early attempts to try to weave together various storylines and make everybody have a story that would sort of intersect. So there was the baby shower, there was the cable story. These are just stories that I had sort of formulated separately, and Larry and I would try to then synthesize those stories into a single story.
What are you doing here? I thought you were out of town for the weekend.
The show was canceled. There was a blizzard.
I can't believe you told Kramer it's okay to put cable in during the shower. Jerry, look, they've eaten everything.
Jerry, what a surprise. I thought you were out of town.
Well, Leslie, sometimes the road less traveled is less traveled for a reason.
That also had a dream sequence in it in which Jerry was killed, which was kind of a radical thing for a sitcom to kill the main character, and slow motion death, and it was kind of fun, very Tarantino-like.
Mr. Seinfeld, Agent Stone, FBI, undercover.
No, Jerry! Cable boy. Cable boy. What have you done to my little cable boy?
I love Larry Charles. I truly love Larry Charles. I think he's quite brilliant. Whenever Larry writes comedy, there's bloodshed involved. There's mayhem and bloodshed. He's got a really dark sensibility.
I probably killed more people in sitcoms than anybody else.
When I was dating Monica Yates, the daughter of Richard Yates, who was a great writer, her father had come into town and he was staying at the Algonquin Hotel, appropriately enough, and she wanted me to meet him at the Algonquin Hotel, and I had just bought this suede jacket.
This jacket has completely changed my life. When I leave the house in this, it's with a whole different confidence. Like tonight, I might have been a little nervous, but inside this jacket, I am composed, grounded, secure that I can meet any social challenge.
Can I say one thing to you? And I say this with an unblemished record of staunch heterosexuality.
Absolutely.
It's fabulous.
I went with Monica to meet him at the Algonquin Hotel, and we had a drink, and he was every bit as intimidating as Alton Bennis.
Which one's supposed to be the funny guy?
Ah, he's the comedian.
We had a funny guy with us in Korea. Tail gunner. They blew his brains out all over the Pacific. There's nothing funny about that.
It started to snow outside, and I had on my suede jacket, and we were going to go from the Algonquin to another place for dinner, and we were going to walk there. And I saw that snow outside, and I knew that that was going to be the end of that jacket.
Why don't you turn it inside out?
Inside out, great.
Wait a minute. What the hell do you call this?
I turned my jacket inside out.
Well, you look like a damn fool.
Well, it's a new suede jacket. Might get ruined.
Well, you're not walking down the street with me and my daughter dressed like that. That's for damn sure.
Now, Lawrence Tierney was in the old film noir gangster pictures in the 40s, and he played a really bad guy. And he was intimidating, which the character was supposed to be. But beyond the character of her father, Lawrence Tierney scared me to death.
I'll tell you something about Lawrence Tierney. He was a total nut job. And although I will say, a wonderful actor, because he's amazing in that show. And it's too bad he was so cuckoo, because I'm sure he would have been back otherwise.
He was brilliant in the episode. I mean, he played that character so well, and there was every reason in the world to have that be an ongoing character, because it was just, there was so much tension between him and every other character. It was brilliant.
We kept our eye on Lawrence because Lawrence stole one of Jerry's knives from the set.
And it was clear that he had taken one of the actual knives from the kitchen part of Jerry's apartment. There was a knife block, and he had this large butcher knife, which I guess he was going to steal.
And I wasn't about to ask him for it back.
Well, of course, Jerry, who is an unusual person,
Instead of going, I think we should all maybe, back off,
went up to him and he goes, "Hey, Lawrence, what do you got there in your jacket?"
"What's with the knife?" And you see the color drain out of Tierney's face, because now he's been caught.
And then Lawrence tried to make a joke about how he put the knives in his jacket. He thought it would be funny.
By pulling it out and going, and making the psycho sound. And advancing on Jerry a little bit. And Jerry didn't back up, so I don't know what was in his mind. And I remember looking at Tom, I remember looking at Julia, and just going, this is, we're in the land of the sick now. We're in really scary territory.
And I'm sure when George said the line,
"Well, we can't possibly have dinner with him alone.
How are we going to get out of it?"
"We'll say we're frightened and we have to go home."
he had good reason to say it.
Tom Sharonis is absolutely right. Lawrence Tierney, I think, scared the living crap out of all of us.
But he was a good guy. He worked hard and did the job for us, but Larry David threatened to have him back if I wasn't good.